everyone, today we will look at this pair of simultaneous equation that involves logarithm. So we see that we are given two equations and they may look very complex and have no relation to each other. But what we can do is that we can manipulate each equation such that we can substitute one into the other. And ideally, what we want to get is that we can sub log x or log y into the other equation. But first, we will have to make log x or log y the subject of the equation. So now that you have this tip, do take a few minutes to attempt this question before proceeding further. Now we will go through the answers together. So we have two equations given, and first we want to manipulate the first one. So in the first one, we are given y to the power of log x is 100. So what we can first do is that we want to bring down the power, which is log x. So to do so, we log both sides. So when we log both sides, this is what we get, equals to log 100. So we can bring down the power from this stage on. So when we bring down the power, we will get log x multiplied by log y would give us log 100. So log 100, as we know, is just 2. So we see that actually we have a log x and a log y. When multiplied together, they give us 2. We can actually make log x or log y the subject of the formula, but in this case, I'll make log y the subject of my equation, so 2 over log x. So this will be our first equation. Now let us take a look at the other equation. So let me copy down the equation. So log square root xy over 10 equals to 1. So this equation is already logged, but it's not a very ideal equation for us to substitute log y inside. So what we want to do is to simplify this equation. So how we can do so is we first remove the log first. So when we remove the log, we will get square root xy over 10 would be 10 to the power of 1. So this is actually one of our log rules. So when we do so, we get this. And I want to remove my square root. So I'll square both sides. So when I square both sides, I'll get xy over 10 would be 10 square. And bring over the 10. So xy would be 10 square times 10, which is actually just 1000. So we see that it's actually in xy, but in our first equation, we have log y. So what we can do from this step is that we can log this equation on the right. So when we log this equation, we will get log x plus log y equals to log 1000. And we know log 1000 is 3. So how we get log x and log y? Log x plus log y is actually, this is one of the rule of logarithm that we need to know. So now that we have our first equation and our second equation, we can proceed to substitute them together. So we have these two. So what I should do is I take sub 1 into 2. And when I sub 1 into 2, I will get log x plus 2 over log x would give us 3. So we see that this is actually what we get. So how we proceed from this is we have to remove our denominator. So when we remove our denominator, we get log x squared plus 2 would give us 3 log x. So what I did was I just multiplied log x throughout, and this is what I get. So how we solve this next is that we substitute log x to be a variable. So I will let log x be equals to a. So why we do so is that this will help us simplify the equation so that we can solve it more easily. So when we do so, we will get a squared plus 2 equals to 3a. And we will get a squared minus 3a plus 2. And this is actually a quadratic equation that we can easily solve. So from using the calculator, we can see that a minus 2, and the two factors are a minus 2 and a minus 1, giving us a to be 2 or a to be 1. So remember, we have to sub back our log x in because we substituted log x to be a initially. So it means that log x would be equivalent to 2, and x will be 10 to the power 2, which is 100. And on our right, we have log x to be 1. And then x would be 10 to the power 1, which is just simply 1. So now we have found the values of x to be 10 or 100. But remember that we have to find the values of y as well. So when we substitute into y, we sub the value. So when x equals to 100, the previous equation that we got was log y equals to 2 over log x. So log x, so which means that log y will be equivalent to 2 over log 100. So log 100 is just 2. So it means that log y is just 1, making y to be 10. So it means that when x is 100, y will be 10. And now we substitute the other value of x in. So when x equals to 10, log y equals to 2 over log 10, and 2 over, and log 10 is 1, so it will be 2. So it means that log y would be 2, and y would be 10 to the power 2, which is 100. So we can see that we actually obtain two pairs of values for x and y. So this gives us that x to be 100, x to be 10, or y to be 100 as our first pair. And the next one would be x to be 100 and y would be 10. So these are our two pairs of these are the two pairs of values that we get for our final answer. So I hope you learned something new today from this simultaneous and logarithmic equation. So if you like our video, do follow and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more follow-throughs in future. Thank you for tuning in. Bye bye.